What's going on, everybody? It's BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I know for a fact that the Lakers do, in fact, have a game before the Chicago Bull game that's supposed to be postponed. It is a game against the Timberwolves. We will be playing the Timberwolves next, and that is not a game that you want to come in and take lightly. This is not the old Timberwolves. In fact, I could argue this is one of the best Timberwolves teams I've seen, period, ever. Like, this is one of the good Timberwolves teams, and you have to take into account that they have a lot of different players doing a lot of different things for them right now. First of all, Karl-Anthony Towns is healthy. Knock on wood, stays that way, all goes well. He's definitely playing his type of ball right now. And then you got a guy by the name of Anthony Edwards, who is, as I started telling people, he reminds me of Michael Jordan. And now I'm starting to see people actually following what I was, my thing, what I thought. When I first said it, I said that from the beginning. I was like, this dude looked like Mike. Not necessarily play like Mike, but like carry himself like Mike. He looks like him. He walk like him, and that kind of thing. So it's like now that he's starting to really step into his own, I think he's going to make an all-star team this year. He's an all-star in my mind. I expect him to dominate. He's coming off a big game. He had the first game where he's had over 10 threes. I think he's the youngest player to have 10 threes in one game. He just did that. And Minnesota's finding ways to win games. They have a guy by the name of Jared Vanderbilt who is now starting to find himself in terms of what his niche is. And he's a really, really interesting player to me because he's one of those guys who's starting to turn into a guy who really focuses on alternate stats. He's a massive, massive productive rebounder and a very, very good steals player. So that's what I'm noticing about him. Really, really, really starting to come into his own. Who knows what his upside necessarily is, but he's 15 rebounds here, 14 rebounds here, 3 steals. Like he's really filling up the box score in those two categories at almost a star level. So I'm starting to really pay attention to Jared Vanderbilt, and he starts to get more and more attention. I think he's going to become more and more productive. He's a great compliment to what they have down there. Of course, D'Angelo Russell. I'm not really sure how D'Angelo's doing right now. I haven't been paying attention at all. I am clueless. I haven't heard a lot about him. It's been more so about Anthony Edwards, Vanderbilt, and Karl Towns really coming together to make this thing just really work for them. And I like what they have this year. You got to give them credit. Minnesota Timberwolves are a team. Another guy that I like by the name of Naz Reid, who I think is one of the most underrated players in the game right now. He's just a really, really, really good power forward who can stretch the floor some, rebounds well, plays hard in the paint. I got him in the Trez kind of category of things. He's not quite where Trez is in terms of his production, but that's exactly where he will be 2-3 years from now. He's going to be like Trez, who can shoot the three. So I really, really like Naz Reid. I can't wait for him to finally get the type of opportunity that I feel he's going to take advantage of. And when he does, I would expect him to be very, very good going forward. So that's a guy to pay attention to, Naz Reid. So, yeah, those are going to be some very productive players. The Lakers cannot go small here. Obviously, that goes without saying. We're going to have something out of AD that we haven't seen in quite a few games. And if he don't be that, we're going to have a hard time beating this team because they just have way more size than that Dallas Mavericks team we just got through watching right here. Way more, as you can clearly see. The names that I mentioned, Vanderbilt, I think he's like 6'10". He's like a real power forward. Obviously, Karl is 7+. And then, of course, we're talking about Naz Reid, who I think is also like 6'10", almost 7 feet as well. So you're talking about big guys who play the glass. Anthony Edwards, who's turning into a superstar right now, who's going to play the glass himself, who's going to stretch the floor himself, who's going to have a highlight, jumping over somebody wearing purple and gold. You just know it's coming. And I think that we're going to have to get everything out of everyone in order to beat this team in their home gym. The good thing about it is historically we've played amazing against the Timberwolves. They don't genuinely have success against the Lakers. We're coming off some good wins. We've won 6 out of the last 8 games, which I thought was shocking. I didn't even realize we were doing that well. And we're slowly but surely starting to find ourselves in the production of individual players. Obviously Austin Reeves coming off the big night, hitting that game-winning shot with 0.9 seconds to go. Ice cold, didn't touch nothing, but net, and we love that. We saw Russell Westbrook creating that play for him, getting offensive rebounds, driving at the basket, doing things that we need him to do, having no conscience. What I love personally from that last game was LeBron James' relentlessness to continue to trust Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook had airballed a corner shot. LeBron James didn't even hesitate to get him that ball again, and that's the type of thing that makes LeBron James, in my opinion, one of the greatest players to ever touch a ball. It ain't just all of the stuff that you can see. It's that button, pressing that button, knowing that Russell Westbrook's a Hall of Famer who's won an MVP, knowing that he struggled in that situation, has been struggling all season long. LeBron James said, nope, I'm not wavering in my belief in my brother. I'm going to get him the ball. I don't care what he did, and then we're going to live with the results. And those are the type of faith. That's the type of thing that makes a guy want to run through a brick wall for you. That's the type of thing to make a guy say, nah, you can't talk about that guy in my presence. I'm going to knock you out, because that is what it's about. Russell Westbrook has always taken all that has come his way in regards to the criticism and all that with a good attitude. And I think he's deserved that type of belief in him regardless of whether he's struggling or not. So I want to give credit to LeBron James and Russell Westbrook for trusting one another, for being having no conscience in regards to mistakes, and continuing to let that trickle down to the young players. Because I see Austin Reeves is starting to have that mentality. I'm starting to see that Malik Monk has a mentality, and I think it'll continue to trickle down. We are not wavering from the fact that we believe in ourselves just because we're struggling as a team. And I'm seeing that in various ways, and I think it starts with LeBron James. So I'm very happy about that. It's the same type of confidence and belief I want LeBron to have in Anthony Davis as well. I don't care if Anthony Davis misses 100 shots. You being LeBron, can't lose faith in those two superstars, because once you lose faith in those superstars, the rest, everybody else does, and it all collapses from there. As long as LeBron James has a relentless belief in his teammates, he'll get the most out of them. So that's one button that he pressed last night that I just thought was so very, 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 very helpful for our team. And we won. It was no mistake made in him having that trust for Russell Westbrook. That's the beauty of it. It didn't result in a mistake. It resulted in us getting the play that we needed to win the game, the corner shot, and Russell Westbrook being in that spot again with confidence, catching the ball and making a good decision to create a play for Austin Reeves. And I want to give credit for Austin Reeves, who was so very, very heads up in putting himself in a position to relocate properly to the three-point line in such a way for him to get a rhythm open shot that he could catch in his pocket. So all of what I saw on that last play needed to be recapped here, because I just loved all of it the more I saw the highlights of it. So yeah, man, a lot of trust, a lot of good faith, energy put into our team from our guy LeBron James. So yeah, I'm happy, man. I'm a happy Laker fan, even though, as I said, this team is very bipolar. I do find us to be an average basketball team, but what I see is an average basketball team that's starting to find themselves in some ways that you would hope they would by now. Starting to run better plays. Finally, we're starting to see more ball movement. We're starting to see guys start to figure some things out. And as I said in my video last night recapping the game, I just felt like this is going to be one of those key games that we can not only take great footage from and learn some great things from, but also take some horrible defensive things that we did, and we can try to tweak those and make ourselves better. So if ever there was a game that I thought really was encouraging in terms of just overall what the game meant for this team, it was this one. This might have been the best win for us this season thus far. Not the biggest win, but the best one, because it gave us so much. So now that we're going into Minnesota, I'd like to continue that momentum. Obviously, we're a bit outmatched given the fact that we don't have the size with so many players missing with the COVID protocol. So I think that we're going to be kind of working behind the 8 ball with this team. We were fortunate enough to go up against a Dallas team without their best player. They're not overly talented, to be honest, without him. So having us go into overtime with that team, it can be frustrating if you look at it in a vacuum. But if you watch how the game was played, it was nothing to be hanging their head about. We're happy to win, and that's that. The next game, however, it's just going to be about how we handle the rebounding. I think that you expect the Minnesota Timberwolves to severely out-rebound the Los Angeles Lakers. That's what you expect. Severely out-rebound us. So what I'm hopeful to see is more of the same from guys like Austin Reeves, who crashed the boards hard. Obviously, Russell Westbrook's going to go for a triple-double. We're going to need those rebounds. LeBron James should go for a triple-double. We're going to need those rebounds. Anthony Davis is going to have to give us bigger rebounds than usual. Hopefully, he's up for that matchup, because without him in this game, if he struggles in this game, we're not going to have a good game. It's going to be upon LeBron James to be heavy on the scoring for us to even have a shot if AD struggles in this game. So I'm looking for big scoring. If I'm telling guys anything against Minnesota, just score. Put points on the board. Make that the most important thing, because Edwards going to try to go for 40. Carl's going to try to go for 40. That's 80 points right there. And then D'Lo, if he plays, it's against the Lakers, his old team. We gave up on him. He going to probably try to go for a bunch of points. So you got to understand that this is going to be a spirited matchup. This is a young team who's excited, going to play on their own home court against some big-time superstars they grew up watching, and they have the confidence that they can beat us right now because they have the talent to beat us right now. So we need to come in there with the expectation of going up against a playoff team, with the expectation of going up against a team that's better than us, and have that focus. Don't think you're walking into Minnesota as you normally would. This is not that. This is a team that's better than you today, and that's that. So as we come off the momentum that we did, I expect us to have a spirited matchup. And like I said, if everybody crashes the boards crazy, I think we'll be able to keep up with them on the boards, and that will help us. Now, y'all know how I feel about turnovers. 14 or less. 14 is the magic number. That's what we had in the last game. We got into an overtime game. That's exactly what I expect to see when you have 14 turnovers. If you start going in 15, 16, 17 range, those are usually L's for us. Now, if we stay under that, we should be able to put ourselves in a position to win the game, and I expect more of the same in that way. So hopefully we can keep it under 14, and that will be good for us. So yeah, I think the Lakers have been shooting the three-point ball a little bit better in these stretches of game. These last 8 games, I think they've found themselves in regards to taking better three-point shots and making those three-point shots. I felt the Lakers passed up some three-point shots that I was happy to see them pass up last night, including the game-winning drive from Russell Westbrook to Austin Reeves. That was an open three-point shot Russell could have took. He passed it up, and he made a good play for someone else. Those are the type of plays that ultimately win basketball games. Sometimes just because the shot is open doesn't necessarily mean it's the one to take. Maybe you have something better that you can create to get a higher percentage basketball play, and I just felt like that's the type of stuff the Lakers can do to keep themselves unpredictable out there. You know, guys are going to react to the defense, but if they don't know what the defense is going to do, then they have to be everywhere at the same time, and that's exactly what we want them to think. So that's what I saw, man. We got to do a better job defensively. Even though we had some good defensive sequences last night down the stretch, ultimately the reason why the game was close is because we were mismanaging the pick and roll. They would run that pick and roll, find mismatches, and ultimately take advantage of us, particularly with AD kind of trying to play both the paint and the perimeter against a stretch 4, or stretch 5 rather. More of the same is coming against Minnesota, to say the least. Literally the greatest three-point shooting center of all time, Karl-Anthony Towns, is going to be out there lighting us up from behind the arc. I'm sure, smart superstar player he is, he saw the highlights from last night. He saw what AD didn't do, and he's going to try to take advantage of that as well. So AD's going to have to make a concerted effort to really, really be ready for Karl Towns, who is in shape, who's playing faster than he's ever played. He's running the floor better than he's ever ran it. And I think Karl-Anthony Towns is well on his way to having a career year. And this is a big game for him to try to establish himself in. So I expect that. This is a Karl Towns, Anthony Davis game. And if Anthony Davis comes in with low energy, then it's gonna reflect poorly on us as a whole. So that's what it is, man. This is a big Anthony Davis game. You don't have no Dwight Howard. You don't have no THT. You ain't got no Malik Monk. So we're going to meet more of Austin Reeves, more of Wayne Ellington, more of our coach pushing the right buttons and getting guys in the game to do things for us, not relying too much on our big three, but also continuing to give those opportunities to these young guys. I still think the Lakers should call some guys up from the G League to help us right now. I do believe that. It would not hurt to call up 1 or 2 of those young fellas. But so far, so good as far as us in the short term. Like I said, 6 or 8, you love that. So that's what we got, man. We're on this road trip, and it started off great. You got to love how this road trip started off for this Laker team. The Minnesota game is going to be a tough one. Obviously, we're going to Chicago after that for the delayed game, as to which they're going to be missing a lot of players in theory, I think. But I don't really know about that. Maybe all of those players are coming back from protocol for our game, so I'm not sure what to expect from Chicago. We'll get to that when we get there. But for now, we enjoying AR-15's heroic game winner 3-point shot yesterday. We saw the footage that's coming in from everybody taking, pouring the water on him in the celebration, and put a smile on my face. I really appreciated seeing that, seeing my team celebrate something like that. And ultimately, the Rook has made us very, very happy. And his jersey going to be selling. That AR-15 jersey is going to be one of the best selling Laker jerseys going forward. You trust you me. We're going to have one over here too. I love the kid, and I like what he's going to bring to the table for us going forward. So that's what we got, man. My name is BDF44. Feels good to be celebrating something about the Lakers. You know, a lot of times, even when we win, we don't feel too good about these wins because of how we play in these games. But last night was not that, and I hope that propels us going forward. So that's what we got, man. BDF44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.